What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be talking about, of course, the Detroit Lions cornerback Jefe Okudah and how much he has improved since his very, very rough start to the season. Let's get it started.
You know, I got to shout out DoseOfDion, man, because it was actually the first time I went live on YouTube. And, you know, guys don't know DoseOfDion. He put out a lot of good content for the Detroit Lions.
Let's talk about this rookie cornerback, Jefe Okudah, who got off to a very, very slow start this season. And it's very slow start. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie with you and try to act like his first two games weren't very good. Were good. They weren't. They were awful. But he has definitely improved. Jefe Okudah has gotten much better as a Detroit Lions cornerback. And there's many reasons for that. And the film will tell you that. And the stats will tell you that. And I'm going to hit you with all that in today's video. All right, let me do this for you. Let me name out two stat lines. And you tell me what two players I'm talking about. 70.8% completion percentage allowed, 99.3 passer rating allowed, 35 total tackles, 3 missed tackles, 0 interceptions. Whose stat line do you think that is? Okay, I'll give you a second to think about it. Now, here's another stat line. 71.4% completion percentage allowed, 99.6 passer rating allowed, 35 total tackles, 2 missed tackles, 1 interception. Now, these are according to Pro Football Reference. You know whose stats those are? One of those are Darius Slay. That first stat line I read off is Darius Slay's stats right now with Philadelphia. The second stat line is Jefe Okudah's stats right now with the Detroit Lions. As you guys can see, they are super comparable right now. Super comparable. And that's not to say that, okay, just because that Okudah's playing great. I'm just showing you how comparable Darius Slay has been so far this season to Jefe Okudah. Now, let's go back to when we brought in Jefe Okudah this offseason. So, the Lions come into this year, and it was a pretty toxic relationship with Darius Slay and the Lions. Didn't really matter on the field stuff. You couldn't extend this guy because the relationship was just completely toxic. If you're going to ride with Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn like the Lions were, you couldn't really keep this guy around. As much as I love Darius Slay as a player, and I really did love this man. I love this finger wag, right? We got the little bobblehead here. Unfortunately, the relationship was so bad and toxic between the two sides, it just wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to work. So the Lions this offseason, how did they address it? Well, we know cornerbacks are super important in this defense, and the Lions already needed help there. So they did a couple of things. They knew Amani was going to have to take over a big role, but they brought in multiple players. They brought in Darryl Roberts. They signed Desmond Trufant to a 2-year, $20 million deal, and also took the top cornerback in the draft with a 3rd pick. Now, every draft is different, so in certain drafts, maybe he's not the 3 pick. If the Lions aren't sitting at 3, maybe they take him at 4, maybe they take him at 5. Either way, that's what the Lions offseason looked like. And the Lions came in with the mindset that, look, Desmond Trufant's not the future, but he is helpful for now. He is the mentor for Jefe Okudah and Amani because Darius Slay is no longer here, and will also help us now to win because that's what we need to ultimately do. That's what the Lions saw in Desmond Trufant. Unfortunately for the Lions, they have been hoodwinked. That's not what they're getting. They are getting Desmond Trufant, who's not playing. And it's nothing really against Desmond Trufant. He's just not healthy. The guy hasn't finished the game this year. He's played in 2 games, hasn't finished either of them. And when he has been on the field, well, he hasn't looked that great. That's what the Lions are getting. So they're basically getting nothing out of Desmond Trufant. The first game that he played in, which was against the Bears, Jefe Okudah wasn't healthy anyways. So we haven't seen Desmond Trufant, really Okudah, at all this season. All right, that guy that the Lions brought in basically as a security blanket, as a guy that Jefe Okudah can learn from, and even Amani, he hasn't played. So Jefe Okudah was like, okay, well, welcome back, Jefe Okudah. Week 2 against the Packers, you're going against Davante Adams. And I know he was up for the task, but it didn't look like it on the field. He struggled, there's no doubt about it. His first 2 weeks, he didn't look great in coverage specifically. He's been good tackling all season. I mean, that's something about his game that we knew coming out of the draft he would do, and he was willing to do it. He's been really good at it. We'll take a look at it when we get into the film. But the coverage wasn't very good. However, since then, he's really improved. In his first 2 games against the Packers and against the Cardinals, it hasn't looked good. Now, he did get a pick against the Cardinals, which was great. He said he was tired of being disrespected because even though Aaron Rodgers said he wasn't going to come in with the mentality to target him, he targeted him, okay? He targeted Jefe Okudah in that game. We saw it. But Aaron Rodgers also said after that game that, hey, look, we better take advantage of this guy now because he has a very bright future. This could be a really good player. And I think he may have been onto something. And I'm not saying Jefe Okudah has lived up to the 3 pick or anything like that. It's really about the expectations that you put on him personally. What are your expectations for this guy? But it's not like he's lived up to it or anything like that. He's been in a tough situation, but he's definitely improved. He's definitely looking much better. And not only will the film show you that, but also the stats will. And why am I bringing up stats? Well, because people hit me hard with the stats after the Saints game when I said Jefe Okudah played his best game. I said he played his best game of the season. I didn't say he was great on the season. I said he played his best game. And people were telling me that his PFF grade for the year was awful. And I was like, hey, I get it. I get it. Those were bad. But this game, I saw improvement. I saw improvement from Okudah personally. My eyes told me he was improving. And now what we're seeing is that so far, basically halfway through his season, is that Jefe Okudah in the last 5 weeks has really improved. According to Sports Illustrated, he's allowing an 89.4 passer rating. Of course, it's a little bit different from, Pro Football Reference, which was what I use. But either way, that puts Jefe Okudah as the second best rookie cornerback behind who? That's L'Jarius Sneed, who is a cornerback for the Kansas City Chiefs, who I'm assuming is not being asked to play his biggest role, and he's only played in 3 games. So basically, Jefe Okudah has the best passer rating allowed. That's what the stats will tell you. How about PFF? People love PFF. Let's talk about it. In the last 5 weeks, Jefe Okudah has been a top 3 cornerback according to PFF amongst rookies. Not the best, I get that, but top 3, definitely an improvement. You can see improvements in the stats. We'll take a look at the film in a second. But there's reasons why he's improved. There's reasons why Okudah has been getting better as a corner in this defense. And I don't like hearing well, you can't play good as a corner in this defense, because I don't see how that's true. Yes, Darius Slay, did he struggle with the Lions under Matt Patricia? Of course. I think Slay was just struggling. You can see the stats are comparable to Okudah's. But you can play well as a cornerback in this defense. It's not the easiest, but you can. And we're seeing that firsthand from Amani Oruwariye. He's putting up better stats than the reigning defensive player of the year is in Stephon Gilmore. You can play good in this defense as a corner. And Amani's the perfect example. Honestly, he made an example of that last season when he came in and played really well. And so far this season, we're seeing that, yeah, you can play well as a corner in this defense. You can do it. We've seen Coleman flash in this defense. You can. So I don't like hearing that. But this defense took a little bit of time to get on track. And the reason Okudah has been getting better is because of him personally developing, but also what's going on around him. What's going on around Jefe Okudah is this. He's not getting the reinforcements back. He's not getting Trufant back. What Okudah has been getting is this. He's been getting a defense around him that's improved in front of his eyes. He's also personally opening up his vision and seeing the entire field, and that comes with repetition and experience. So let's start off with what's going on around him. Well, it's not really crazy to see that since the Cardinals game, the Lions' run defense has been much better. In the last 3 games, the Lions have had one of the best run defenses in the league. And of course, Okudah has improved in that time period. They go together. They definitely do. The reason they go together is because pass rush and coverage goes together. We know there's a balance there. We know there's a balance between pass rush and coverage. But how do you get pass rush in this Lions defense? You got to stop the run first. We're seeing the same thing go on in New England. Look at Gilmore's stats. Why have they declined? Because they're not good against the run this season, but they're below average. So they're not getting as good as pass rush. All of a sudden, Gilmore's struggling. Doing a way better job of stopping the run, which is ultimately leading to some pass rush. Now we're going to get Everson Griffin, unfortunately, without Trey Flowers, but we're going to get Griffin. And it's led to Jefe Okudah improving as a player. But not only that, it's not just because they're doing well, he's doing better. Also, because of his experience in this defense, we'll see it on the film. The communication has been there. Let's think about it like this. A shortened offseason. Okay, a lot of new pieces, no rookie minicamp, no OTAs. Rookies are coming in and asked to play a pretty big role. You're a top 3 pick, you're asked to come in and start, and he's not getting Desmond Trufant. The Lions knew how weird everything was going on. They didn't know what the offseason could look like, so they signed their veteran Trufant. Unfortunately, that guy hasn't been here. So even though they had Trufant, who was going to be that reliable player to step in, and you know what you were going to get, at least you thought you did, you're not getting that. So Okudah had to play right away. He had to step in and play. And with a shortened offseason, in his first experience, there was no preseason, there was no rookie minicamp, there was no OTAs, there was no joint practices and a weird training camp. That's all you had. A lot of virtual meetings, you were asking this guy to come in and play as basically the number 1 or number 2 cornerback. But now that he's getting experience, now that he's playing alongside a lot of these moving pieces, think about what he's playing alongside. J-Ron Curse, Duron Harmon, Reggie Ragland, Jamie Collins, Desmond Trufant when he's healthy, Darryl Roberts. Look how many look how many new pieces those are. And Jefe Okudah, even to him, everything's new anyways because he's a rookie. But now you add in moving pieces. So now they need to learn to communicate with each other as they're trying to learn a new defense as a whole. And as the season goes on, what we're seeing is that they're improving in communication. And we're seeing that the Lions are playing more zone coverage. And while that does have to go with the team that you face, it also is Matt Patricia is more confident, and they're able to put more things into the defense, and they're able to play more zone because the players are able to communicate. Zone is a lot of communication, right? It's a lot of reading the quarterback's eyes and communicating and switching off, playing who's in your area. Man-to-man is pretty simple. It's straightforward. Play the guy across from you. That's what we had to do early in the season. Now we're mixing in more zone as the players are able to better communicate with each other and are getting more comfortable around each other, and we'll see it on film. But not only that, those 2 things are helping, right? Those 2 things are helping. As time goes on, he's improving. Also, the defense around him is improving. Not only that, Jefe Okudah as a player is getting better. He's seeing the whole field. He's playing more aggressive. He's playing with more confidence, and he's understanding his matchups. We're still going to see places that he needs to improve because he's not perfect, but he is improving. And last week, you could make the case statistically was his best game against the Colts. 3 out of 5 receptions. He gave up 1 big play, which we'll take a look at on film. That's the Okudah stat line from last week. So as you can see, Okudah has improved, and there's a lot of reasons for that. I wanted to bring this up because I wanted to point out the improvements of Jefe Okudah. That a lot of people always ask me, how do I feel about Okudah? How do I feel about Okudah? I feel like he's improving and he's getting better. He's got a lot of room to grow, but I've always loved his ability to and willingness to tackle. And now he's improving in the back end, and it has a lot to do with what's going on around him and the familiarity that he's gaining and the respect and the trust that he's gaining in his teammates. That's been the Lions' biggest problem this season. They weren't trusting each other. Now they're starting to trust. The defense is improving. That's the same thing that's going on with Jefe Okudah in the cornerback positional group, and that's why they played more zone. That's why they've been more successful as a defense as a whole. Now let's take a look at the film. Also, Matthew Stafford could play Sunday. That's great news. Hopefully that is the case. Let's go check out the film. So let's slide over quickly to just a little bit of film from Jefe Okudah's last game against the Indianapolis Colts. Just where we're seeing some improvements, some major things that stick out to me in his game, and maybe some places that we're seeing improvements, and also places that he's still struggling a little bit that he needs to continue to work on. But there's definitely a lot better, and a lot of that has to do with the environment around him, and we talked about that already. So let's just take a look at Jefe Okudah here. This first play, you're going to see he is inside. He's matched up against T.Y. Hilton. Let me get my pencil going here. You can see he's matched up against T.Y. Hilton. This is one-on-one coverage. But one thing that Matt Patricia brings up, and that's super important for cornerbacks, is that they have to realize what's going around them, right? What's going on around them. Because when you first come in, Matt Patricia says it's kind of like, you know, a tunnel, right? You just have that tunnel vision. You're just focused on your guy. But, you know, as you get comfortable in a defense, you start to learn what's around you, right? You have to take advantage of that, and you have to realize what's there. And this is a perfect example. So you're going to get the safety help over top for Jefe Okudah here, and he uses the safety to his advantage on this play. And this is just something that comes with time, and as he continues to play more and get more reps and more opportunities, you can see he's improving, and he's understanding where his help is behind him. So here, Jefe Okudah, he's going to give the receiver the inside, knowing that he has some safety help here, and it sets up really good coverage. As he breaks back to the outside, Okudah is in perfect position. There is no chance for Philip Rivers to throw this ball, even if you want to. As you can see, he has the inside leverage on this pass. So if he tries to go over top, it's going to be a pick. If he tries to go underneath, it's probably going to be a pick. It turns out that it's a sack anyways. T.Y. Hilton's going to do something that we've seen, you know, a lot of receivers do against Detroit Lions. Lions have done a better job of scheming to slow down, you know, these crossing routes. They've done a good job taking them away and doing the best that they can, especially when they're in man-to-man defense, because for the most part, when you're man-to-man, the team goes to a crossing route, you're going to get destroyed. Lions have done a better job when they communicate properly. Sometimes they don't, and it doesn't end up well. But here's one where Jefe Okudah has to follow his man all the way through this traffic as T.Y. Hilton skirts through, and he does a very good job of keeping it short of the line to gain. It says 6 yards is what they need for the first down, and he keeps him a yard short. You're going to see here Jefe Okudah plays very tight coverage, and he's got to go around. He's got to work his way around Christian Jones. He's got to work his way around a pick that is set here, right? He has to work his way through that. And he's able to get back into the play and make the tackle before he even gets to the first down line. That's a good play by Okudah. You can see that closing speed. Not the best top-end speed, and we'll talk about that in a second, but the closing speed is something coming out of college that he was pretty well known for. Again, look how close he is. He's playing in tight coverage, playing somewhat of press coverage here, and this is something that we didn't see a lot from him early. It was just giving a lot of guys a ton of cushion, maybe not super confident, and this is against T.Y. Hilton, not the fastest receiver, but he's playing up in coverage, playing tight here, and you're going to see very physical coverage on this play, very physical the whole way. He needs to be careful because he could get flagged, but again, pretty good physical coverage. He tries to make the stop route. He tries to cut back outside, and he stays. Maybe a little bit of a grab there. Have to be careful on that one. But again, you can just see he's more physical. He's more confident. And because before against Packers and things like that, he was giving so much space that he wasn't even in the play. I mean, there was no chance to make anything happen. See the big cushion that he's given here. This is Marcus Johnson, the wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts. And if you dive a little bit into who Marcus Johnson is, you'll realize that he ran a 4.39 40-yard draft. He was an undrafted player. And Jefe Okudah, I know he does his film. I know he knows his matchups. And he probably knows, lining up across number 83 here, that, hey, Marcus Johnson has a lot of speed. And he gives him a huge cushion. But I think, again, he just needs to trust himself, because what goes wrong on this play, and we're actually going to slow this down even more here, but you see him start to turn his hips. So he stays straight across, right? He stays straight across, keeps his balance. But right when he turns his hips, because, look, Marcus Johnson does a pretty good job of selling it. He turns his hip. Now he's sideways. Now he's not straight across. Now he's not, you know, in a position where he can go either way. Now he's turned sideways. This is exactly where a receiver wants to get you. And once he turns sideways, the receiver is able to break inside. And it caused Jefe Okudah to, instead of just being able to stay where he is and cut down and break on the route, he has to do a whole spin, a whole 360 to try to get back into the play. And this is where he allowed one of his completions. So you can see he gets right there. Boom, there's the break inside. Okudah, because he's already turned, it's faster for him to just go completely around because he's not able to get his body and body weight back into the play. That's the concern with the speed here. You can see there's no safety help really on his side of the field. I mean, really, there's no help over top. So he has to be cautious of not giving up that big play. But because maybe some lack of confidence, maybe a little bit of lack of speed that he'll continue to work on as he, you know, grows and gets better, you can see here that maybe just a little bit too concerned about the speed here. And he gets beat, he's turned around, and there's no chance for him to get back into play. Philip Rivers steps up, he makes a good throw, and it's completed. That's one of the places is that he still has to work. And, you know, he can work on his speed. That's something that you can improve upon. I mean, it's not easy. It's really not. Speed is tough to teach, but you can get better there and more confident. It's really quicker, you know, because he doesn't need to have a faster 40. He just needs to be quicker. And that's something that, you know, I think as you work on, you gain more confidence, and then you believe that you can make the play on those passes, and you won't give those up anymore. I've loved about Jefe Okudah, and we've seen it every single week. Even when he struggled, we love it about Jefe Okudah, is willingness to go make tackles. And he'll tackle off the edge, you know, tackle running backs, receivers. It doesn't matter. And he explodes. They'll bring him on cornerbacks blitzes, which we'll see here. This one, yes, it is a big game given up. One of the big plays that the run defense did give up in this game. But what you love about Okudah is here, turning, recognizing it, engaging with the wide receiver, breaking off the receiver, you know, the smaller one in Hilton, and getting and taking a big hit. Takes a big hit. That's a running back, right? He takes the big hit here. Now he carries him a little bit, takes the big hit. Here you're going to see a quick wide receiver screen. This one goes unnoticed. Boom. Jefe Okudah gets to the outside, gets that outside leverage on the receiver. All of a sudden, that forces T.Y. Hilton to say, okay, I can't get to the boundary. That's cut off. I have to come back inside. And that's where all your help is. That's where your Raglins, that's where your safeties, that's where your walkers are. And all of a sudden, he has to cut back. You're going to see he's not able to get to the boundary. Raglan gets back in the play, and they cause it for a 4-yard gain. That's set up by Okudah getting off the play there. I'm not exactly sure. I think that's Wilkins. That's Wilkins. He's lined across from Wilkins. Jefe Okudah realized that. Now he's set on a blitz. So now Okudah's set on a blitz. Now look how far he has to go. This is a long way to travel to make this play in the backfield because they only need 2 yards. And look how fast he explodes. And he doesn't show it either. There's no tell here. There's no tell that Jefe Okudah's coming. You know, there's no look for Phillip Rivers that, okay, I got to be prepared for this blitz off the edge. And none of the tight ends or tackles even realize that he's going to come here because there's no tell. So everybody blocks this way. You know, they all block to one way, one direction. And Okudah, you can see, takes off right off the snap. Look how quick he gets in here, and he makes the play in the backfield. Not a lot of celebration, just kind of running excited, and he forces the 4th down. But this time, he's going to drop in his zone. So Okudah, again, he lined up tight, right? Now you see that communication. Did you see that before the play? I don't know if you saw that. Communicating with this outside player here. But this is great. This is where them working together and then playing together more is helping. And you're seeing more of zone mixed in. I think that's because Patricia had to give it time for these guys to learn the coverages. And with no offseason, took a long time to do that. But watch here. So he's going to communicate really well with Raglan here. So Raglan's going to drop. And Okudah's going to sit for 1 second. Boom. He sees that. Then they make the switch. Look how effortlessly they make the switch here. So T.Y. is going to go to the corner. Okudah's going to stick with it. And you can see they switch off, and Phillip looks there, nothing there. That's just beautiful communication. And that's something that because of the weird offseason, because a lot of missing time, because of 2 new guys, Raglan, Okudah never worked together. Both the guys new to Lions. They have worked on that. You can see the improvement in communication, and Okudah's there, and they switch off perfectly. It looks effortless, and all of a sudden the route's not there for Phillip Rivers. And the back end is helping the press rush and vice versa. And, you know, we talked about that already. But here you go. This is just great coverage. I mean, he's covering a guy that's clearly bigger than him. He clearly has the size advantage. But, again, knowing that he has enough speed here, he's going to get right up in his pocket. He's going to ride his hip all the way, and he takes it away. Now, they end up getting a touchdown. It's not bad coverage by Amani. It's really just a beautiful throw. Confidence for Jefe Okudah is what's been taken to another level, and you can see the communication has been huge. So I just want to point out some film there. Are you kidding me right now? I had to put my helmet on for this one. Are you kidding? Look at this. Look at all these members. What? Yo, hey, shout out to all the members, man. Look how many All-Pro members there are. Like, literally, it's the whole screen, dog. This is crazy. The patrons, of course, the Hall of Fame members, man. Y'all got the gold color. It's kind of yellow, but it's supposed to be gold. Shout out to all the members, man. If you want to be a part of this, all you got to do is join the channel. But there are perks that come with it. Stay locked in the community tab if you are a member, because that's where a lot of information comes out. I appreciate all of you. What?